thereof to today's signing and the hour of time. By posting notice thereof on the bulletin board in the Salem County Courthouse and the County Administration Building. By filing notice thereof in the offices of the Salem County Clerk and the Clerk of the Board, all have been done at least 48 hours in advance. Roll call, please.
Deputy Director Lawrence. Here. Director Cross. Here. Director Ansley. Here. Director Bobbitt. Here. Director Ware. Present. Director Timmerman.
Present.
Director Adams.
Yes.
Director, you have 7 members present. You have 4.
Director, could I open our meeting?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll call the meeting to order of the Salem County Improvement Authority for Tuesday, August 28, 2012 at 6 p.m. This meeting is being held at the Salem County Courthouse on the upper level. Could I have a roll call, please?
Michael Burke. Lou Schneider.
Here.
Ron Howard. Pete Warrens.
Here.
John Over.
Here. Okay, notice this meeting is provided to the public in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act by the publication of today's Sunbeam and the Lyman Journal newspaper circulated in Salem County by posting notice in the Salem County Clerk's office. Madam Director, I would suggest perhaps, there's a lot of people here, that you call us here as answer to our request for a meeting.
Yes.
We have the agenda, which we spoke about last night with your liaison. And for good order, we would like to have it so that I address you, you address me, and that I can ask our people to answer appropriately. Perhaps if you want to do it that way. Is that a fair way to proceed?
You're welcome to do your presentation.
Okay.
And thank you for being here.
Okay. First off, on our agenda, I'm going to let Debbie go over the items, the first items that have to do with charges back and forth between the Freeholder Board and us for bill payments. She knows the detail. I think we're pretty well cleared away on that, except there's 2 invoices that are open. And our problem is that the state of New Jersey will not let us adopt our budget until those payments are made by you, or we have a certification from your Chief Financial Officer that they will be paid. They call them stale receivables. I mean, that's the word they use. So I think maybe that would be first on the agenda. Seems to me that when we met a couple months ago with your administrative committee and I believe the small committee of our group, that we had that all ironed out and we're going to enter into a memorandum of understanding, which never was entered into, but the details were in there. So perhaps we're down to the last few pennies, so that could you
Right. And freeholders, in addition to the agenda that you have in the packet, we also have a small spreadsheet, and that's what I'll be referring to. First of all, I'd like to just say thank you to the County Administrator, Evan, for the Board, Gage, CFO Doug Wright, and our liaison, because this list was extremely long when I took over last year. And I know there's been a lot of diligent effort to work back and forth between some long overdue outstanding payments due by both organizations. So it's a significantly shorter list than it has been in the past, and some of them have been moving forward. But in the interest of open disclosure, we felt that the freeholders really should be fully appraised of the intricate workings between our budget and yours. I believe you ran into the same situation as we did with the Division of Local Government Services this year. Was not going to allow your organization to move forward with the adoption of our budget until certain things happen. And at this point, I'm just referring you to the spreadsheet. The memorandum of understanding that, as requested by the administration committee by the freeholders, did detail the plans for payment of the retiree health benefits for the nursing home retirees. Okay? It was very time sensitive, and just to kind of recall for you the timing thereof, we had appealed at the time of the sale of the nursing home for those retirees to be transferred back to the County of Salem, since the majority of their service had been indeed with the County of Salem prior to us acquiring that home. The Division of Pension and Benefits denied that request for transfer to a simply retire under an organization. They are bound to stay within that organization. And the transfer agreement was very clear that that obligation, that financial obligation, did not transfer at the time of the sale of the nursing home. So on a monthly basis, by the first of every month, we receive the anticipated bill from the state for the retirement payment. Those benefits currently are $13,950.83 per month. They have to be paid by the 10th of every month. We have been submitting those invoices directly to the County of Salem in anticipation of receipt of those payments. We have made and reconciled those payments up through the July period of time. We're lagging by about 30 to 60 days. So we're fronting money for the payment of bills so it's paid on time for these retirees and then being reimbursed by the county. The memorandum of understanding that was to be executed but not signed by you guys was very clear in the timing of those payments. But I just wanted to point out that the timing of those payments is lagging. And at this point in time, July's payment is delinquent, August payment, and then September's will be coming up September 1st, which will be due by the 10th. So I just wanted to be aware of that time sensitivity.
We're going to pause for a moment. See if that,
Yes.
would you address that?
Absolutely. Debbie is correct in that the July payment has not been made, nor the August. We have paid them to date $57,154.15 for the past months of payments. I have not brought those to the freeholders for approval, as we haven't received any of the funds that we were expecting to receive for the agreements written in the past. I understand that the $233,000 and change represents 5% of the surplus cannot be paid over to the county until the budget is certified by the state. However, the $850 and $250, which is $1.1 million, is on the books as a liability for the Improvement Authority and has nothing to do with their current budget being approved, and that is yet to be paid over. So 1.1 million versus 26,000. It was my opinion, whether it was wrong or right, that until we had received something, I wasn't going to submit anything more to the freeholders at this point until this got resolved.
Thank you.
Could I address that?
Oh, we're not going to be going back and forth. This is what he said, so now.
Okay,
Go ahead and continue.
It's item number 2.
Okay.
Going down to the third line item, that is an item that is now moving forward. That is the disposal cost for government materials. And I think we've had enough discussion relative to the vendors and the choice of contractors using your accounts and things like that. So we did receive a payment voucher for that just last week. Execute that payment does appear to be in the works. So those payments are there. The two that are of significant concern to the Improvement Authority, for the reason that Chairman Over indicated, is because since last week, the Division of Local Government Services indicated to us that they will not allow us to move forward in adopting any of our 3 division budgets until the 2011 County Correctional Facility Bond Administration payment, which is $20,000 per year, is made. And we have also anticipated the revenue from 2012's anticipation administration fee of $20,000 in there. Obviously, the Division of Local Government Services has a new chief. We have a new liaison. You have a new liaison. They're very good about working together and talking. So they're looking for things in your budget and checking things on our budget to make sure those are correct. We are at a standstill with our budget until one of 2 things happens. We either can produce for them, we check with those payments, or a voucher that is signed off by the county, or a certification. And just to elaborate further on the second part, as CFO had indicated relative to the nursing home payments, the Improvement Authority Board has taken all actions, including the transfer of funds from the nursing home division at the time of the sale of proceeds over to the solid waste division to repay those funds to the solid waste division. And as of our last meeting in July, adopted 2 resolutions which transferred those funds back from the solid waste division into nursing home division, so we can pay the $850,000 and $250,000. And those payments cannot be made because they're not in the temporary budget until the final budget is adopted.
Now, Debbie, when was the last correspondence did you have with the state on it? Was that on Friday?
That was even as of last Friday, yes.
Because I had asked Debbie to call the state again to make sure that we understood their directive correctly. We also asked our auditor the same question. He said, we cannot make those payments until our budget is adopted. And we can't adopt our budget until we get these 40 or 50,000 members straight away. So it's a catch-22. And again, Dale, I think you can attest, we authorized the payment, maybe incorrectly, but we authorized the drawing of those checks pending our adoption of our budget. That could have been done several months ago. You would have had to, if this was cleared up, that memorandum of understanding was signed, that money could have been transferred 2 months ago. Because I believe we could use that memorandum of understanding to support our budget, particularly if it was signed by your CFO. So,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, I want to make sure, because this has been dragging on. I just want,
Everything for
I'm
the
talking
chair.
through, I'm talking to the chairman.
Excuse
I'm
me.
talking to the chairman.
This is my meeting.
This is our meeting.
No.
We called the meeting.
Ross,
hold on a second. Okay,
Ross, can you clarify, just so we have something?
Ross, we,
Well, they're with both parties.
right, and I'm talking to my chairman.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
okay. I'm going to ask our member to indicate, clarify.
I want to not let this go any further, because every time I talk to different freeholders and ask them about, they have a blank look in their face about, well, they're not understanding, we can't pay them the money, and we want to pay them until they, and I just want to make sure that all the freeholders understand that. Is there any freeholder that doesn't understand that? That's all I want to know.
Okay, so that's reiterating the hours. So it's like, what are we doing here? When we were at that meeting together, I remember I said to Mr. Vanderslice, I said, why does it take 20 people to do this thing a piece of paper could do? You know? And we said, and I said, how about we get a memorandum of understanding? And you said, that'd be a good idea. Okay? We said, fine, our attorney would draw it up. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you drew up the memorandum of understanding. It's a very simple thing. We agree this, you want us that, we all agree on the numbers. It's very simple. You know what I mean? And it could have been done 2 months ago. Do you have the money in the bank?
With all due respect to Mr. Ober, I disagree with him, and unfortunately, the auditor isn't here to make that statement, but I believe if we were to speak to the auditor, he would disagree with Mr. Ober's statement regarding the 1.1. Regardless of that, it was stated that the two $20,000 payments were considered stale receivables. Was that the term that was just used?
They were talking about the original 210 and the 2011 payment, not
The
the
2010 absolutely would have been considered, but we resolved that.
They didn't get 11.
The 2011 and the 2012 $20,000 payments are due to the Improvement Authority per our budget. I did reach out today to the Assistant Director at the DLGS, Jerry Sineski. He did not return my call. At your direction, I will absolutely do a certification letter if that's what's needed. I don't understand from the state why they need that. They have our budgets. It's clearly identified in our budgets, but if that's all it takes for us to get 1.1 million, and if it's the pleasure of the freeholder board, I have no problem, writing that letter. And
Wait,
we're
so
making
you
this.
just get the response from the state. But thank you.
And it'll be the same individual.
Yeah, seems to me, conference call is solid. So something I can't understand why we go to this length for a small thing, but whatever, that's history.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to ask our solicitor for our board if you want to comment on that?
No,
It has to be done in that?
That, okay. We're, thanks.
So just in closing on that matter, we will hear something? Okay.
From our CFO.
Okay. Our board would be amenable to having special meetings without these budgets if necessary. Since that's an action that was pending, our meeting next of district as well, so we have to do the work.
May I ask a question? Where was the memorandum of understanding sent?
That was sent to your administrator.
Right, I prepared it, sent it to Debbie, and then I think she distributed it.
There was an unsigned copy that was distributed right after it was drafted to the administrator in her office. And then following no action for 30 days by your board, it was sent to your administrator, signed by our board after it was executed at a local meeting, and I think copies was CC.
You never see them, no?
Do you have a date, Sam? You'd like to see it?
The only question I have is, do we all agree with this?
Do we owe this? I mean, that's what we're here trying to get things on. Now, do we owe this or we do not? I mean, if we don't, let's clear it up. Let's take one issue at a time. Do we owe this money? If we do, then we'll see about paying it. Let's clear up one issue. That's why you're here, isn't it? Try to get this issue cleared up one at a time.
Except the railing, and which she said. that-
Right, the vendor is taking care of that, so those funds were not budgeted for, so those funds will come out.
So we agree with this.
Yes.
So, next one, so that, is that all bills?
That is on bills, and just as confirmed by your CFO, the 5% of the operating budget, which is statutorily permitted to be paid to you, there's also a line for payment upon adoption of our budget. So that's the last sentence. So there will be 3 separate checks that come over to the approval board when the budget is done.
Let me interject something here. I don't like operating without a budget. Here we are, September. You know, my history in public government, when you adopt your budget in February or March, April 1st is the latest, because that's how we operate. We're transferring money from temporary budgets. It's terrible. You can't run around without that.
Mr. Chairman, I have to add that I'm extremely disappointed that the CFO and the freeholders knew that we were coming to this meeting, and they're calling the guy today or yesterday and not getting returned. It's frustrating.
No, we can walk out of this room tonight and get this cleared up. I'd be happy to.
Are we clear on what the 3 checks will be for?
One
Yes.
is for 5%.
We're clear on the 3 checks. Have the amounts.
Allow me to iterate with those amounts. 5% of the
Put
operating
what's for
budget.
them.
No.
No, from them to us.
Oh, we got to pay it out.
Yes.
We agree with the spreadsheet of what's due to the improvement authority from the county.
Right.
What will be due from the San County Improvement Authority to the county is a check for 5% of our operating budget this year, $233,223 and some odd change. The sales and proceeds of the nursing home in the amount of $850,000, and a second check for the operational expenses associated with the ongoing expenses of that nursing home of $250,000.
Thank you, David.
Yes.
Madam Director, we have a room full of people here and everything, and as an old math teacher, I'm trying to digest this, but it seems like this is not rocket science. We owe them $40,000 so they can adopt their budget, correct? Is that right?
No, not 40, a little bit more. Maybe.
Well,
So
the
it
vendors
is rocket
paid
science.
Essentially, it's
The
40,000.
state is
Yeah, essentially $40,000. We paid in $40,000, which we have, right, CFO?
Yes.
And then we get 1.11 million, correct?
More than 1.1 million plus.
1,233,000.
Yes. All right, let's go home, watch Governor Chris.
Plus the medical. So I was thinking the medical also, that's another.
Well, we would like that, but that's not essential to us,
Okay.
lobbying. Okay,
There's only
Let's
one
shoot
other,
one more thing. When can we expect the check to go out?
Well, go ahead.
That's entirely up to this freeholder board if you want to approve the payments tonight. I think, I'm not the attorney, but it can either be considered a bill paid tonight, if you guys approve it, or on next week's meeting from the individual.
Well, I think one way we can do it tonight would be great, rather than another week.
Well, and I guess I would ask the same question, when we expect a check from you?
immediately when we get this, we will, we have to adopt our budget. We will call a special meeting to adopt our budget. We can't adopt our budget. We will adopt our budget, send it to the state. We suspect that they will approve it forthwith because I think they're kind of looking at it too, and everything's all ironed out except for these little items. So the minute that they approve our budget, we have already authorized them to be paid, so we can cut the checks and send them. So I would say,
Can we vote on it?
Yeah, sure. We're looking at the 2 health payments and the correctional facility bond administration fee.
Correct.
This is your correction.
Wait, the correctional, I
Just
think,
correction.
is for the budget.
correctional we need for the budget. We don't need the, we don't need the,
26,000.
Are you okay?
40,000 to get the budget. That would be the first step.
Can I make a motion?
Oh, we don't have to, it's no,
We just do it.
I mean, you do acknowledge that, you know, it's for the medical benefits. I mean, we would like to pay them on time, because we don't want these people to be out of benefits, you know, we don't pay. But, I mean, if that takes normal course, I will satisfy us, but we'd like to go on.
And, you will be getting your check the next time you pay bills, correct?
Well, if you approve it tonight, I can issue the checks tomorrow.
Very nice.
I'll make a motion.
I don't think we should- No, we can pay the bill.
Yeah, pay the bills.
You want a motion to? Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the one.
I got a motion,
I'll second.
second, all in favor, please raise your right hand.
Okay.
It's called working together.
There's one other financial matter that we wanted to appraise Freehold Board about. And this is, again, associated with the operation of the nursing home, a bigger subject. If you recall last year, at the prior to the closure of the sale of the nursing home, Medicaid has a tendency to do these audits of the rates and the receivables for those nursing homes. Looking a lot, again, with your CFO, we produced a lot of information from the 2006-2007 time period when the county owned the nursing home because they were auditing that period. They subsequently done an audit for the 2008 and 2009 when the improvement authority audited the nursing home as well. They have made an adjustment. Medicaid has made a final adjustment. It started out being close to, I think, $500,000. And through the information that was presented by the county, the adjustment to the nursing home owner, which is now Golden Rehabilitation Center, was a total of $61,840.36. Now, because Golden does not have an affiliation with the county freeholder board, they obviously brought that issue to our attention because we were the sales agent for that nursing home. That information, as soon as we did the final documentation for Medicare, we got more online remittance advice, has actually already been withheld from their payments. They have withheld that money from Golden's receivables. And we've gone through our sales agreement and government consolidation agreement with the freeholder board and have determined that that receivable is not the obligation of the South County Improvement Board. We did not operate the home at that time. We will provide that information with the remittance advice and everything over to the freeholders because we need to rectify that situation with Golden in some way. That has been an issue with us in terms of reconciling our accounts receivable with that. Okay. So I wanted to explain that so everybody could hear it at one time and ask, any questions that you have. It was a little surprising to me that they were that far behind with their audits of their Medicaid rates, but indeed that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. So the bottom line is you can expect a bill from Golden for $67,000, whatever it is.
Debbie had mentioned that they ordered 4 years, 2 years you owned it, 2 years we owned it. Is the $61,000 for the entire 4 years?
No, the $61,000 is only for the 2006 calendar year. Okay, they did not do any adjustment in 2007, and we're waiting to evaluate the adjustments for the 2008 and 2009 calendar years. And we owned it, which is probably close to $200,000.
And they obviously would not owe us money.
The only reason they do the audit is because they want money back here.
And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, the 2008 the county operated
For part of the year, but that's why we're looking at the data recently.
So we just got this paper and it's that thick, so that see. And by the way, this takes not days to figure out, it takes weeks and months to figure out. Because there are little lines, $86.92, $42.53, and just days and days.
No, I was just curious. I'm thinking to myself, Director, I didn't not having the agreement in front of me. You kind of associate things, and the sale of the nursing home and the division of the proceeds were very much debated, and I sat in on every one of those meetings. But I wonder, were there any agreements in there? Or is this kind of like you assume all responsibilities that go along with the sale, and in the event that we were recognizing any profit, would we be here?
That was specifically addressed in the agreement of sale. Any old liabilities are all due to the people responsible as an interest on the pier. So they were concerned about ourselves. Okay, so that's the financial matter, right? Now, the other item, I think why, I'm
And
sorry.
just to clarify something, we're not agreeing to pay that right now at this moment, because we will have to look at that agreement in the best interest of Salem County and
What's that?
the public. The agreement of the transfer of the nursing home from the county.
67,000?
Mhm.
Okay,
It's just information.
they haven't got, I don't think they've actually gotten the bill yet.
Okay,
And-
because I
and-
will want our council.
Yeah, they'll have to address that with you, they won't, I mean, we're just gonna give them their name and address. So, go down to the courthouse. So, yeah, clearly, you should obviously inspect it, make sure it's right. Okay, the other item we're here for, I believe, is the economic development situation. First off, probably the best thing you have before you is do this document here. Salem County Improvement Authority, mission and record of accomplishments. Raise your hand. Okay. I'm going to read that. I think it's the only way to do it. Offhand, I can't remember it all. Okay. The Salem County Board of Freeholders established the SCIA on June 7, 1976. I'm sorry, January 7th, under the County Improvement Authority law, as an independent, self-sustaining public body. The purpose of the authority, as listed in the resolution creating the authority, is to provide for the orderly development of land and facilities, to spur redevelopment of deteriorated areas, to encourage commercial and industrial development, and create jobs for residents of the state, particularly residents of Salem County. That was our charge. The County of Salem ability to assist developers with projects is limited by state statute, and we're Board of Freeholders. The county can only finance projects from county facilities and equipment. For example, a courthouse, snowplow. The Salem County Improvement Authority has been granted powers by the state to provide conduit bond financing for a wide variety of projects, including convention and conference facilities, public facilities, airports and marine terminals, redevelopment projects, affordable housing, sports, recreation, and entertainment facilities, and projects undertaken by non-profit entities. And we have done that, and we have a report on it. The Salem County Improvement Authority plays a key role in improving the quality of life and residents of the county. The authority has financed over $60 million of major projects, such as the county correctional facility, Friends Home, Salem County Community College gas and glass facility, and the Finwall building that houses state offices. Created new jobs and or tax flow to the county and local governments. By the way, the college, we not only finance it, we pay for it. If you're aware of it, we pay the bonds. Also significantly reduce the expenses associated with financing these projects. The Salem County Improvement Authority also operates and is currently expanding a state-of-the-art solid waste processing resource recovery facility, arranged for by the sale of the former county nursery for a privately experienced operator, finance several key projects with taxes and bonding, market Salem County and various financing programs and incentives to prospective business and industry. Helps arrange financing and incentives for existing and new companies and oversees the development of major business partners in the county. The Salem County Improvement Authority has been involved in economic development projects and has created or retained over 1,000 jobs. Projects that the authority worked directly on have generated over $1,068,000 in taxes to the Salem County and local governments. The SCIA has worked directly with New Jersey Economic Development Authority and the major Salem County existing manufacturing firm to secure business retention relocation grant in excess of $1 million for business retention and additional new employee hires. Most recently, the authority has worked with the Cooperative Business Systems Corporation to secure several small business administration microloans for Salem County businesses. Additionally, there have been 5 contracts issued for job training of new employees that are funded through the Salem County One-Stop Career Center and Cumberland Salem Workforce Investment Board. Furthermore, the authority was instrumental in the creation of the New Jersey Energy Sales Tax Exemption Program, which has saved Salem County manufacturing firms hundreds of thousands of dollars. The authority is currently working with several major business prospects that have expressed interest in either expanding their operations or locating new facilities within the county. This is very promising during these challenging economic times. Our active door-to-door person outreach program has been well received, and as a result of this activity, the Improvement Authority receives referrals from local township officials, regional economic development, associates, and private developers to inquire about programs available through the Improvement Authority. That's our mission, and that's some of the things we've done. I'm going to ask Debbie to go over more detail some of the actual projects and programs.
And I believe in the packet that you received at your mail, as well as in your folder, you also have some additional information which breaks out some of the details of those programs. But when it comes to the employee count, everybody wants to know where the employee jobs come from. The majority of those new positions come out of the Friends Village project. There's 218 positions that were created by that facility. These are numbers that were from those facilities. We have a retainage of 348 jobs from Anchor Class, which I know both the county and the Improvement Authority have long labored over retaining that customer here in San Juan County. And with their recent sale and acquisition to a new member, they're very optimistic about their ability to remain here, possibly even grow here. There's over 100 positions over at Goya Foods, which is in the Gateway Business Park. There's over 160 positions over at Markowitz, which is glass manufacturer, and 133 positions over in the Smallville Freezer facility. The Finland building did attract 130 positions in accounting as they continue to move more people to that building as well. So I know a lot of people have questions, about where these 1,000 jobs came from. That's exactly where they came from. That's the account. Those annual taxes also parlay into our communities as well as the county. You receive a significant amount of county-wide benefits, both for the open space tax and county tax rolls for new positions. Piles Road, Woodstown, Salem, Mannington, Oldhams, and Salem City have all benefited directly from those projects as well. And the tune of that is about $1.1 million in tax revenue from those positions and those jobs that were actually created in the businesses that were brought in the state. In terms of the bond issues, the freeholders understand the conduiting ability of the Improvement Authority's conduit debt, which is unlike a direct debt. A lot of the bond issues that we have done have been conduit through the Improvement Authority. We have the ability to waive the traditional 5% down payment that's due on a bond issue for any public entity. We also have the ability, when we compile those bonds into a bulk issue, to achieve significantly lower rates of interest on those bond issues. If you think about it, I'll give you an example. Pittsburgh Township, where I used to work, would struggle to get $1 million bond issue to upgrade its municipal building, do some work on its public works building. We pay a certain rate. If you tie that $1 million bond to a $30 million bond issue for a correctional facility, you get a significantly lower rate of interest. Okay? And the bond issues that we've done in the county capital improvement and equipment project, which was done for the freeholders in 2009, was a $9.8 million bond issue. The county college project had two parts to that, Part A and Part B. The county college direct project was $3.6 million. The county glass blowing project was a $2 million bond. That's a bond that we hold, and as Chairman Over indicated, that's the bond that we paid for. The correctional facility and courthouse annex was a $3.7 million bond. The city guarantee revenue bond for the Finland building was a $19.5 million bond, and the Friends Home project was $22 million. Those are only the projects that came to a successful fruition as well. There are a number of projects that have been in the pipeline, either been put on hold, they come to fruition. If you think about, things like Riverwalk that are out there. So that's kind of a compilation of the magnitude of what the authorities can do for public entities, whether it be the school districts, municipalities, the county. And one of the reasons that, we're proud of what we've done and we like to partner with these public entities to do even more for it. We need to make sure that the monies that the Improvement Authority has can work for this county and can be put to best use.
I might point out that we have funds, everybody looks at the numbers and they're huge, but the majority of it is set aside for the closure of the landfill. But we can, with state approval, lend that money to other governmental agencies. And when you all borrowed some money about 2 or 3 months ago, was it? I sent an email to each of you. I believe everyone I had the email of. I said, why don't you borrow through us? Money costs you nothing. And no one even said, boy, what's that all about? So you went and you paid interest, You paid administrative fees, and you could have gotten less for probably nothing, or at least a lot cheaper than you did. I was surprised that somebody didn't say, boy, let's get together there. I think you all must recall the email I sent out. I sent it to everyone. Everybody I had an email to. Coach Ware, I didn't send it to all. I did. I knew yours. I printed and put them out.
I think it was mentioned.
Huh?
I think somebody did say something about that.
Really?
Yes, I think I stepped up, I said, go more off you people, but, it went unnoticed.
Okay, but there's the point. Now, we were getting 3, 4, 5% on our money, and those notes are all coming due through the year. I think we had some beginning of this year, were even like 4% or somewhere in that range. Well, now we're getting like 0.5%, 0.75%, maybe 1%. So you're paying 3, we're getting a half. So we say, look, how about we lend it to you for 1.25? You save half, we gain a little bit, and the people of Salem County get a windfall. Not a windfall, maybe, but a windfall. So it seems that, and then you eliminate 2 people in this project. You eliminate the lawyers, no offense, or you reduce their amount they get, and you eliminate the banks, no offense. Okay? But the people who gain from this are the citizens of the county. And yeah, might say it's pennies, but penny here, penny there, you know the old saying. And I can't repeat this saying, but I can understand that. But so there we are on that matter. Now the other thing is, what we had is, that we all explained to you, we have our 3-year economic development plan, which we adopted in 2008. And most all of you on the freeholder board participated in that. I think Mr. Vanderslice might have been the only one who didn't. And I'll read a very short thing. I can't remember all this stuff, so I have to read it. In 2008, the authority, in cooperation with the Board of Freeholders, adopted a 3-year economic development plan, which you have before you now. That's that thing. Okay. This endeavor took over 1 year to complete. I've been here too long for my taste, but it might have been more than a year. Okay. From that time forward, we've used that as a guide in our economic development activity. Also before you is a brief report of results of that activity of the last 4 years. That's this thing. By the way, we do all the stuff in-house except for that. There are some successes and some failures. Some things we're doing right, some things we think we're not doing so right. It's now time to move forward on updating that plan, and we will embark on that shortly. So it'll be up to you all. If you want to cooperate with us, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. But we are obligated to do that because we're all put in the office to fulfill the obligation put on us by our charter. So there we are on economic development. Debbie, anything?
Only in terms of the strategic plan. I know you all do strategic planning as well, and you see that it has been and will continue to be pretty far-reaching. There's obviously some things that have absolutely come to fruition in this really significantly challenging economy that has hit not just San Antonio, but the whole region. There's some very promising things that the freeholder that happens to attend our meeting, for the most part, with the boss and Mr. Vanderslice, get to hear about relative to the DuPont Chamber's work on purchasing of those facilities that we'd like to bring forward to the freeholder board when the opportunities to present themselves. We have been active and participating on a regional basis, and I mean regional tri-state, Wilmington, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, in providing bid opportunities for site selections that Salem County probably has never ever before seen. Now, probably out of the 10 to 20 that we do, we might have one that's promising that may actually come to fruition. So you have to do a lot of work to get those diamonds in the rough. But there's a great deal of continued interest in Salem County. The businesses that are forward-thinking, whether they have the funds to relocate today or are planning ahead, are taking notice of Salem County. Now, they also understand the compromises that we have in Salem County. No water, no sewer in certain areas. We have redevelopment areas that are going to be quite challenging for those municipalities to continue to develop without those, which are going to be very select in what they have. So our 295 corridor, and we've talked about that 294 corridor strategic plan since back in the 90s, is continuing to receive a great deal of growth, pressure, and interest. Pearland is becoming full, believe it or not. There's a lot of open warehouse spaces, but there's only 1 or 2 parcels out there that are not developed or under commitment. So the only place that that's going to come is down at 290 Park Road. And we're specifically looking to repurpose a lot of these sites that are already having discussions with these industrial customers as well. Many sites that have shrunken their workforces now have these facilities that pay taxes on infrastructure that they know they're not going to repurpose for themselves unless there's assistance. And that's why we have to participate with a more regional basis for economic development. We cannot, just in Sound County, one municipality alone, achieve some of these results. We've had good cooperation. Mr. Smith, our economic development director, has been very active in this last year since I joined the Improvement Authority in being out, meeting with municipalities, meeting with the major businesses, getting doors open where doors were never open before. When a new client moves to the area, I'll give you an example of Calpine, sitting on hundreds of acres of ground with 20 employees. You know, that's a fun area for us to look and see what their mission and vision is for their organization and how we can help them move forward that will help Sound County. Even the micro loan program, which is really a key tool for our small business community right now, is something that I can say was never fully marketed in this county. Cumberland County used that money, it was there for Sound Cumberland, and it went unused here in Sound County because nobody was talking about it. These small businesses are closing shop day after day because they can't get their hands on $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to run a business. Those microloan programs from the USDA were targeted for those small businesses. And so we are absolutely pushing that money out there because if we don't ask in South County, we're not going to get it. We're not going to help. So we do look forward to the future. We look forward to working collaboratively with the board, both on economic development, on solid waste issues that we have before us, and anything else that we may find that in partner.
Okay, what I'd like to do is call on each one of our members to see if they have anything to put in. Lou, first, you have anything, any comments you'd like to make?
Not just.
Okay.
Yes, I have 2, one on the nursing home and one on economic development. And I just want to compound what you both said about this board is tasked to help the Sound County taxpayers, and we're trying to look to help them in any way we can, and the Freeholder Board, if you want to help. But what we can't have is a couple of situations that came across. One was in the newspaper and one's in your minutes. On economic development, there was a statement made that this board, and we're volunteers, and not Debbie, but everybody else on the board volunteers, we were accused of criminally stealing $11 million. That's not acceptable. Statements like that in your minutes, unless it's true and you file charges against us. And I'd like to ask through the chair, did you file criminal charges against us for stealing $11 million?
Well, later on we can get into those.
Then the second thing I'd like to bring up is this is a big organization that we work. We got different divisions. If we're doing something wrong in one of these divisions and you know about it, we would like you to come and tell us about it. We don't like reading in the paper, a freeholder said that we're mismanaging, or even maybe it was a little harsher than that, and that we ought to be disbanded. Instead of coming to us and saying, well, this is what's wrong. And then the next question I would say is, do you have information where we're mismanaging something or not doing economic development right? We don't see it. So they're the 2 questions I like to get asked, and I want to hope that all these freeholders understand we're here to help you. We don't want to work against you, but you can't go on the record saying we criminally stole money, or go in the newspaper and say they're mismanaging. Just generally, people want to see the facts, and you're tasked as elected officials to not just get on a soapbox and start hollering without anything to back it up. If we did something criminal, I would highly recommend, I'm sure the attorney will, if we stole $11 million, go to the prosecutor's office and file charges.
Okay, so we'll take that up to the later date. Okay. So that's it on economic development. So we said our stuff. Do you have any questions or?
Freeholder Ware, would you like to say something?
No, I think I mentioned last freeholder meeting that we talked about economic development, but the mechanism is in place. They are an economic development entity, and just look at all the projects they have done throughout the last 5, 6, 10 years, and they've been doing so. I'm looking forward to working with them, not against them. We can't let personalities enter into it. We're all in this for the betterment of Salem County. And that's why we're all here. That's why you're there, and that's why we're here to work together.
Thank you. I might interject that all that we do is without taxpayers' money. One exception, about 3 years ago, you gave us $150,000 for tourism, and I just can't put my finger on that, but it was used for tourism, and we gave some money back as a trade. That was the only money since I've been on the improvement authority. By the way, when I got on the improvement authority, it barely existed. That's another story. But I don't know of any money, taxpayers' money, that has came to the improvement authority. On the other hand, I know quite a bit of improvement authority money has gone into county projects, never to be repaid, never asked to be repaid, by the way. For example, paving of the, what's that road down there? Gateway Boulevard, and the striping. We said, well, we'll pay it, you stripe it. Well, we wind up striping it also. But that was one item, and there's a list. The solar energy project, I think we have 70,000 or 80,000 less of that, don't we, somewhere on hold. I mean, we expect to get it back on hold, we might never, it's money dormant. It comes out of our audit, to the benefit of the county in general. The paving of the road over there, 125,000, 135,000, striping, $10,000, I can't imagine that. So there are those kinds of things. So we might have got 175 or 150,000 one time, and to look at that and get it specific, we surely gave that back 5 times over. So.
Thank you. 3 more, Tim?
Well, something that Mr. Rivers said made me smile. I think you came on the improvement authority at the same time I became the liaison, and you are right. It only met 3 or 4 times a year, and then when I got on it, it seemed to start meeting every month. But I recognize all the projects that we have given or put to the improvement authority, and for the most part, I think that the improvement authority has risen to the challenges of doing economic development in a time that's very difficult. So I know that we weren't getting it done in the county, we just didn't have the, all of the pieces to do economic development and why replicate it. So I commend all these projects. What about it?
Absolutely. I think they've done an excellent job. The improvement authority was inactive, as everybody said. Mr. Rover, Debbie, Jim, Pete, the board have a good group out there. Dale out there have a good group, a good core of people. They're moving the county forward. They're doing economic development. And it would be my suggestion, for your enterprise, would like to get a 15-man committee or whatever together. I don't think we need a 15-man committee, but I think we need our ad hoc committee, whoever that's going to be, Freehold Bear Sites, Ben and myself. Let us join forces with this group to move Salem County forward. We don't need to go against. Let's get in there and go to work. Look, they have all the tools. All we got to do is get on board. The train, the engine's there. Let's get on board.
Thank you, and I think that meeting's being scheduled, so I think, that's something to discuss. Reverend Cross?
Madam Chair, I'm going to ask for your permission and want to ask if it's okay. I just had a question from a resolution that was passed last night. I don't know if this is the venue to address it while we have both boards. The 2012-94, which was the resolution authorizing transfer of funds. It's transferring basically solid waste division operating from solid waste division operating $3.5 million to the capital construction reserves. There's a typo, and it only says 350,000, but I'm assuming it's 3.5 million. And then from the solid waste division operating $1.5 million to equipment reserves, 1.5 million. My question is, one, are these the 2 accounts, are they newly formed accounts? And 2, to both CFOs, well, both boards at least anyway, will this affect the account from which the 5% that is owed Salem County?
The answer to that is no. That's part of we have a 5-year plan, which we're obligated to have, which you all are obligated to have also. we're about to adopt a 23-year plan, strategic plan. The reason, Debbie always referred to as 20, I was correct, it's 23 years. The reason it's 23 years, that's the anticipated lifespan of the facility. Right now, we call it a landfill. Next week, I think it'll be a landfill no more, it's going to be a resource recovery facility. Because one of the things we're going to be doing is to try to extend that life. But at any rate, we have a budget that right now, a 5-year budget, which funds that budget, so that $3.5 million or whatever it is, or the funding of that. We're going to have a 23-year program, so we'll be able to see over that time, one, the closure costs, which are governed by the state, okay, and construction costs, so that we never have to borrow money. Now, the people who set up this concept 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I guess it was, the utility authority, they set it up so that there would be no borrowing. I think they did borrow a small amount to get that. But we have funds set aside as long as we do the amount of business that's required to keep it funded. So that each time an incremental construction project comes along, we will have the funds to do that without borrowing any money. One thing that scares me is this fund that we had with the state mandates that we, last year, that we figured 5% return on our money in those funds. We can put money into that fund, but we can't get it out. Well, they're crazy, we only got 5%. Now this year, they're saying we have to figure 3.9%. Well, they're crazier still. We can't even 1% now, maybe 1.25 like that, or anything like that. So I'm afraid that in a year or two, we're going to readjust these things and say, by the way, you got to kick in another X dollars because you're not garnering the interest that we have projected. So we're going to take that into consideration when we do our 23-year plan. Now, that is, it's on paper, but it's still been kicked around. And the other thing is, we're taking proposals from people who run this business to come to us with resource recovery ideas so that we might be able to add that to the facility so it would stretch the length of life of the landfill. Right now, everything that comes in goes in the landfill, let's say 100,000 tons a year. The goal is to bring in 100,000 tons and only landfill 25,000 tons. The other 75,000 tons be turned into some resource recovery. Now that's the goal of the industry. People in this industry say that that goal will be reached within 5 to 10 years. And we don't want to be on the tail end of it, we want to be on the leading edge of it. So that instead of our landfill being good for 23 years, it would be good for 50 or whatever, longer than I have to worry about. So that's our general plan. Now we hope to have that completed probably on pencil form by our next meeting. Then our board can review it and kick it around and massage it and go forward. So that would indicate to us how much money we have, what rates we have to charge in order to fund this thing, and also or fund our ancillary activities, like the things that the county needs. Because our concept is, if there's some profit to be garnered, it should go in order to the benefit of the taxpayers of SCIA County. That's the general plan. Yes.
To all further process also was explained last evening. These are not new accounts. They've been in existence since SCIA is there. But secondly, the reason that we're funding those reserve accounts is for the next phase of the expansion of the landfill. We just completed work on cell number 8. If we recall several months ago, we went through the bids for the large cell. We only did half that cell. Those bids were $6.9 million. Okay, $1 million of it, plus or minus, was for the leachate tank. $3 million was for the mini cell. We've got another $3 million completion for cell number 9. We have to start planning for that expansion now. Okay, these things, we think about it as came in March. We actually started in June. We put the shovel in the ground. It's going to be October of this year before we're allowed to open that cell. Okay, and that's an expedited timeline from DEP for construction on that. So we have to start to plan ahead for these new cells that we've got. We also have to start planning ahead for our equipment. As is explained, we have 2 compactors, we also have 2, I call them dozers, but other pieces of equipment. You know, when we bought the last Bowman, it was $1 million piece of equipment. It's not that we got last year, was $500,000 piece of equipment. This is not $100,000 stuff. These are large pieces of equipment. They do not last as long as your public works equipment, because you're in a very harsh environment. So we have to start planning ahead for that equipment on a monthly basis. There will still be ample funds in our operating account to continue to pay 5% of our operating budget account.
Yeah, my question drew from the fact that this was kind of like an open-ended sales division operating. I didn't know what specific account it's coming from. You may want to correct the typo on the resolution so that that's clear. We'll make it fine. And it just happened to be a coincidence that I know that the money that we're drawing, 5% fund takes effect September 1st, 2012. So I was just wondering if there was a correlation. Thank you.
Freeholder, Larry?
I appreciate you bringing all the highlights and the good things you've been doing. It's excellent and good to hear. I do have concerns. I've been on this board 3 years. I've had Jack Hoover come in front of us, I've had Michael Burke come in front of us, explain to us all the problems they're having, the money they're losing in the nursing home, the money they're paying rent for the Fenwell building, those issues. This year, you ordered, you had in your budget $250,000, you're requesting for last one, it's not $250,000. There's some serious issues I see. You got an audit from Bowman Company, probably one of the most respected companies that is out there. The Freeholder Board for many years used them. Your audit was scathing, to say the least. You had two findings this year and 5 last year that weren't correct. Not only that, it says there might possibly be more in internal controls because they just didn't have the proper information to go further. So our concerns are, do they translate over to the economic development? I know one of the things you did, just recently hired another Panoni to do additional accounting for you, some sort of report. Do I have the name right? Patroni. It's interesting you didn't use Bowman again, you used them, I guess you didn't like their findings, so you didn't use one with Patroni maybe. Anyway, here or there, there's some issues and I like what Freeholder Bob said. I think this needs to be more of a partnership where we can work together until some of these audit findings and some of these results and promises have been made over the last 2 years that I've been here that the improvement authority is getting better. We haven't seen it yet. And maybe you have the pieces in place with you as a director, with you as an administrator, and they might be there. The proof's in the pudding. We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen the change than the apologies that we've had and the explanations we've had over the last 2 years. I think we need to work together. I think we need to be very cognizant of why we're elected. That we're here for the freeholder, for the taxpayers of this county. We have certain responsibility for all the expending, not only the taxes, but for the improvement authority, where we spend our money in economic development. That being said, if we can work together, I think it's a good thing. We don't need to go it alone. I want to endorse it this way.
Okay, on the audit, I can answer some of that. The audit last year and the year before.
This is just a comment on, can my freeholder advance?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought this was just time for our members to make comments. So.
Say again?
I thought it was just time for us to make comments.
I thought it was time to get
well,
things
yeah, but
I thought trying to get things
I thought
cleared
that
up.
was a little bit.
yeah, but I mean, if something was said and needs correcting, I think I
The
should
scathing kind of talk, we gotta get that
That's
cleared
why.
up.
That's why I
Under
wanted
the
to.
Robert's rules, it's a point of information. When you're questioned,
We gotta
any
get
way you
cleared up,
present it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But let me just follow up, if I could, with what Ben said.
Well, let me answer him, then I'll answer you.
It's about the audit.
How about I answer him and
Yeah, there you go.
you can question me on the audit, no problem. Okay. There were 3 main areas of concern. One was the late entries, journal entries. We agree that they shouldn't be late. Not persons, not those. Okay? Now, further, that's a very common failure in municipal audits. Matter of fact, I went back to look at the freeholder audit, and you don't even have yours on the internet. I was surprised at that. But anyway, I did find 4 municipalities, okay, in the current audit have that same write-up. I won't name them. You want afterwards, I'll give them to you. They're just the 4 that I looked at, okay? 4 municipalities in Salem County that have that same write-up. It's not a good thing, don't get me wrong. Nobody gets hurt by it. It's controlled, I understand. We're a small organization. We only have a couple people in the office. By the way, we discharged 20% of our workforce between June and January of this year, or last year. So, in that area where we cut down. So at any rate, so those items have been corrected. There was an item on the tax distribution. We have when you go through the scale, there's a scale program there. What's that? PT scales. I was thinking. And that distributes the tax, the charge. So we collected the tax, but that thing did not distribute them properly. We found it. We found it before the auditor found it. The auditor found it. We ordered a new PT scale, and Lou spearheaded that thing. I believe you worked on that, didn't you? Okay. But anyway, so we corrected that computer thing. It's correct now. Now, what we're doing now is we're hand checking it from time to time to make sure it doesn't get out of color. So that's corrected, and that was done before the auditor picked it up. What was the other item? There was a third.
Different order. How come we had a different order?
Oh, okay. No, there's one other thing. Contract failure to bid on contracts. They were all at the nursing home, and believe me, there was trouble at that nursing home. It wasn't trouble that we started. It was trouble we found and corrected. Okay. And out there, very, very difficult to follow the contracts with medicines and so forth. We cleaned that up. And our member to help me with that is not here right now. So they were the main items. And on the matter of Mr. Petroni, and it was at my request that our auditor did our audit, and we got full confidence in him. But we wanted to know what the nursing home cost us from get-go to finish, okay? So rather than have Bowman do it, because he did the audit to begin with, we said, let's get another pair of eyes on it to come up with it, with that cost. So what Petroni was engaged to do was come up with it. He's come up with that, and we received it at our meeting last night. It's quite a figure. He took every penny that we took in, including the money that the county gave us to begin with, $33.5 million or so. Every penny that we took in from Medicare, Medicaid, and who have you, and we took every penny that we paid out. And we have that, I don't think I brought it with me, but we're going to be giving that to you shortly. And it indicates exactly what the authority, monies the authority used to fund that nursing home over a 3-year period. And also starts to identify the amount of money that we saved the county, because you all were losing money on that thing before we started, okay? So clearly in the years that we operated, you didn't lose money, we did, okay? We replenished a lot of it by the sale, and so the bottom line is we had Petroni do that exercise. And we said we get a third party, someone who doesn't know maybe doesn't like our accounting firm, and they did. And by the way, then we had our accounting firm review that to see if there was anything wrong there. I believe he did do that. He hasn't given us a report yet, but he looked at it and he said the numbers are accurate. So that's why we hired that firm. So now we know, right to the penny. We've heard all this baloney, 10 million here, 50 million over here, 2 million there, 1 million over here. We got it, black and white, entry by entry, okay? And we'll have that finalized in a week or two. So that was the reason for that.
I'd just like to correct one thing. Out of the 5 findings from the 2010 audit, 3 of the 5 were correct. And they said they were resolved.
In your audit, it said they weren't. Well, once again, the concern is I've had, and thank you, and it sounds great, and it sounded great when Jack said it sounded great when Mike said it.
I'm not Jack Kugler.
I know you're not. I know you're not. But it sounded great, and we bought into it, and we bought into it when Mike came in front of us and said, you know, we're on the right track. We're making changes, or, you know, and if there's concern, okay, and that's why, you know, I hope and pray that you have the right people in place with Debbie and you at the helm there, but you have to recognize our hesitance to just buy into this 100% again.
I understand. I'm from Missouri myself. Yeah.
300.
Well, let me first start out by saying it's okay for you to pick on bankers, but man, I'd leave the lawyers alone if I were you. Just a word of advice.
Particularly judges.
Right, yes. You know, I've been doing a lot of research on the Improvement Authority, on the County of Salem, on economic development, on you name it. So let me just give a little bit of a history lesson, if you'll humor me for just a moment. There was an article that was in the Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia.com actually it was, in October 28, 1999. And the headline read that project set to bring 3,150 jobs to Salem County. Salem County officials are looking for a big boost from a 1.8 million square foot industrial park off of I-295. It then goes on to talk about the 123 acres. It talks about the partnership with PSEG, and it quotes the mayor of Pedricktown at the time. It also mentions the state officials, Assembly Speaker Jack Collins, Freeholder Director Dave Sparks, and Freeholder Mike Facemeyer, as well as Deputy Freeholder Director Jack Kugler, who at that time was a Republican. He switched sometime after that, I think, to take the leadership of the Improvement Authority. Then you follow the history back, and you see at some point where the new majority in 2006 decided to transfer the 143 acres, commonly known as Gateway Park, from the county to the Improvement Authority. And it was mentioned in there that it was done because contracts of sale are easier to be done by an Improvement Authority rather than auctions. And of course, quite frankly, I wondered why we did that, why we didn't just auction land at that point.
You see the difference out there?
Pardon me?
You see the difference?
Well, but I'm saying that if you see, you know, where it began.
It's for what they've done out there. That's what
I didn't interrupt you when you spoke, so I would appreciate if you not interrupt me when I speak.
Shoot.
Thank you. And so what I see here is you're taking a lot of credit for things that you said you've done, and I have no problem with that, except we just need to understand that it began back in 1999 with a group of people who were sincerely committed to economic development in this county, and they're the ones that need to get some of the credit. So I just wanted to make that mention that first. The second thing is I just want to reiterate what Ben said, and I'll just say it this way because I have the 2009, the 2010, and the 2011 audits. Now we all know the 2009 was horrible. It was just horrible. And I look at 2010 and question that one as well. And then I look at 2011. And it's not the finding page that bothers me. What bothers me is a statement that I have seen in audits that I have read from other organizations. And I will quote it. It's in the paragraph that is, it's in the same paragraph where Ben mentioned the deficiencies. And that is, it says, there can be no assurance that all deficiencies, significant deficiencies, or material weaknesses have been identified. Now what that tells me is that's not a certified audit. It's not a qualified audit. It's not a complete and thorough audit. The auditor says that himself in his document. And that concerns me because I wonder, with all the problems there have been in these 3 audits, how many are there things that are not being talked to us about? And let me just say this. I heard you blame someone that you let go. Well, listen, I manage a $200 million bank. I get an audit like that, guess who takes the blame? Me. And guess what else happens? I get a cease and desist order. So let me just say this. You can blame anybody you want, But the truth of the matter is, the blame rests with a management team and with a board of directors from December 31st, 2011 back. And so you need to own up and take responsibility for it, and you need to make sure that everything is clean as a whistle.
Okay, sir, let me answer you. I do. And that's why I'm here, okay? I started taking responsibility for a long time ago, okay? We clean house, whether you know it or not. We clean house, okay? I didn't have the power to clean house.
But we're still having audit issues.
No. When you get to the audit next year, you're not going to see
Is it going to be a certified, qualified audit? Let me ask you that question.
It's
Is
going
it
to be the same
qualified or
audit.
certified?
It's going to be the same audit that these four municipalities got with the same comments.
I'm talking
Okay?
about you, I'm not talking about the
I
other
understand
municipalities.
that. Our
I
problem.
want to know about you.
We're a small organization, our internal controls are difficult to implement because we don't have enough people, okay? And we don't want to put more people, well,
Okay.
$50,000 per person watching a $5 bill.
Well, let me just tell you, I'll be watching you and I'm
Okay.
thank you.
Very good, I appreciate that. Let me explain something else to you. That industrial park, okay, was formulated in 1999, I believe. Jack Collins was involved in it.
I have the article here that spells it.
Let's not interrupt Mr. Ober.
Please. I've been out to interrupt you, don't you interrupt me. How's that?
Well, you're responding to what I said, I'm just pointing out the
You
article.
don't let me
Point
finish.
of order.
We don't let me finish. Okay. When the improvement authority took that over, there was 60 days left to get it moving because the state DEP was changing the center of the setbacks in the center of the stream from 50 feet to 300 feet. If that would have happened, that facility would not be there, okay? We took it over, okay? And believe me, I've been in local government, I don't even want to tell you, 40-some years. I auction ground on this one. You can't do it. People won't participate, okay? You can't finance it. You don't have the authority to finance it. So when we took that over, we went with Matrix and Public Service and got that thing moving. There's still 2 more properties there that are hopefully going to see a shovel pretty soon. So the point is, 60 days, we hadn't stepped in, 60 days later, history, okay? We intervened with the DEP, we got our permits in 60 days, and we got the thing approved, and we moved it forward. So, we did do that, okay? And on top of that, as far as the audit controls are, you will see improvement. You don't believe me, okay? You'll see it, okay? And I don't bullshit.
Thank you, Mr. Ober.
But my question, I just want to make sure they understand my question. My question is, are you going to have a qualified or certified audit that will be thorough? Because this audit
We will have an audit just like every other improvement authority in the state of New Jersey has, and like you have. How's that? Okay, I'll match you 1 for 1. We'll get your audit and our audit,
Thank
and we'll go 1 for 1.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a deal.
And I think the reason for a lot of this communication back and forth, there is a lack of confidence. And rightfully so on our behalf, the whole board's behalf. I think that the nursing home issue way back when with some of the issues of unemployment and I know there was a former executive director, it was Mr. Cooper also, which I don't know if I'm allowed to even say his name, so please stop me if I do something wrong. Because you know me, I don't want it to be wrong. So it kind of stems, from my opinion, for me personally, stems from there, from years and years and years of different things that have happened throughout your organization. And that's kind of where we're kind of stemming from. There's been complaints with the odors and all that fine. And the reason we know that, or I know that, is because our constituents, they call us. And that's what they should be doing. So it kind of leaves a little bit of unsettledness. And then just recently with the trash hauler, I don't know if you set your rates with the whole board, but I know one trash hauler called you today and you said you were going to change a little bit if you paid early instead of getting 10%, I think if you paid early, he would get 9%.
Point of order, I think that's in the verbiage, you saying this in a public meeting, that's private business.
Oh,
Yes,
oh, I'm sorry.
Please,
Solicitor
please.
said no. So I just think that, you know, like, some of that just causes a little bit of, lack, and I'm using a big word, and I'm really sorry, but a lack of trust, when something like that happens. So a caller calls and you're saying, oh, well, we're gonna reduce it. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you can't do that. I think it's supposed to be a whole board approval. So I think what's building up is a lot of different things that it's just didn't happen overnight. So I just wanted you to kind of see our side.
Well, I understand that,
and then you look at the audit and it's like, oh my goodness sakes, you know, that's like kind of almost disgraceful.
Well, I'm
type of thing.
gonna do two things for you. I'm gonna get some of these other ones. I'm gonna show them to you.
Okay.
You'll be surprised.
And
But at any rate,
And then,
I'm sorry.
And then, you know, with the jobs, and that's, it's really nice when you do the spreadsheet of jobs and everything. But like for Friends Village, you created the 218 jobs. I think they were already there. And like for, you know, it's just a little bit, you know.
no, they were not there. Okay, here's how the Friend Zone came about.
Okay.
So happened I was on the chairman of the planning board in Palogood Township one day. Okay? And they were having a hard time getting financing. I said, why don't you approach the improvement authority? I said, you can save 2 or 3%. Those days, there was a 2 or 3% spread, and I'm sure Mr. Vanderslice can vouch for that, between tax exempt and taxable bonds. And they looked into that, and they did it. And there might have been a difference between being there and not being there, or scaling it back or making it larger. So they did. So if we claim some credit for it, I think so. If we didn't step in and say, hey, you want you to try, maybe we'll be there, maybe we won't. I don't know that. And by the way, when we operated nursing, they helped us in that. I think there were some pointers on where our costs were way too high. For example, we immediately found out that we were paying twice the amount of money per meal than they were, for outpatient, for resident than they were. I go, wow, why are we doing that? You know? And these were things that they helped us on because they were happy that we helped them. So the point is, can we say that we got every job? I don't know. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. It was a good bet. They wouldn't be there if we didn't help them. We didn't intervene, and they come to us. And the other thing is, this gives the impression for other communities or industry looking at us, they see these kinds of things, and they say, yeah, this is a government that's got their act together, they can respond, they can help get the sewage. By the way, we help them get sewage over there, too. That's another thing. We can help in their planning process. You look at this sheet there, you got the sod farm over there, we got the zoning approved by the state for an agricultural industrial node there. That was through our intervention. Maybe will it come to be? I don't know. There's a possibility that if we hadn't intervened, it would never be there. So these are the kind of things we do every day. They're mundane. You do everything, you do 100 things, maybe one comes to fruition. Maybe not. That's what we're doing.
Thank you. And then, you know, just a little bit of, again, you know, bringing the energy symposium bill for $22,000 that we didn't even expect. And this energy symposium was in 2010. It was just like, So it's just a combination of things that it's just not in our head. And then we get a list of all these things that we owe. $1,500 for trustees' fees, and I know a lot of these were removed, correct?
Those are attached to the bond.
For the $1,500 and the new rails, which we got that settled. But I just want you to see our viewpoint, that we just didn't
Look what I have on.
untrusting just for no reason.
Put my hat on, okay? I was elected chairman in February, I believe, this year. I asked Mr. Cross, right after the meeting, I said, yeah, I said, when we get together, I said, I know you guys have budget problems, and I think we can do some things to help you with your budget. I know we could not, and we can. That could be no issue. So we'll meet Saturday. Okay, that's good. So Friday, you emailed me, can't meet Saturday, you got 300 minutes. Okay, I said, next week or one night this week, 100 minutes, 7 days, I work Sunday, no problem at all. I'll take the church back and next week later, email back, how about that meeting? Never heard. That's it. I offered, okay? I said to Debbie, I said, maybe they don't want us approached that way. Please send a letter to the freeholder board, we'd like a meeting. I believe it was in March, okay? And we sent that letter. Debbie, I think I asked you every month to send that letter, right? Okay, but have a meeting like this from March on.
And excuse me, you do come in twice, and thank you for taking your time and coming in. I'm doing a couple presentations. One was about flow control, and another one was about something else, so thank you.
Yeah, but the point is, when these questions come up, my phone works both ways. I'm on my phone 7 days a week. 9 o'clock at night on the bed, other than that, I'm up at 5. Okay. That question? Answer it. I can't answer it. I'll make sure we get a meeting, get some of these things squared away.
Two things, real quick. I know you questioned, the bills and the invoices. That ties back to the audit. When I got there in March of last year, there was a number of receivables, and you see the age of some of those receivables that had not been collected upon. So as part of our due diligence, we would have had more audit findings had we not moved forward to at least bring those issues forward for open issues, okay? So you may not have liked us bringing those forward, but we would have had audit findings had we not brought them forward, because those were part of the agreements that payment for those services, remember? And while I won't get into contract negotiations, real action, relative to the discussion with one of our vendors, our board has adopted rates for the solid waste division. They have also adopted a resolution that gives certain individuals within the improvement authority the opportunity to negotiate rates based on a set criteria. And those set criteria are very clearly established in writing, and they do provide that I can negotiate contracts for the improvement authority and the solid waste division, as well as more. Thank you.
And by the way, the right to negotiate the contract, not to sign the contract. She negotiates a rate, she brings it back to the board and says, there's a report, this individual can bring us desirable trash, some trash is more desirable than other, desirable trash, tax butter, and so forth. We give 5% discount, 2% discount, what have you. We review it, she gives us a report, we agree with it, we adopt it. That's how we do business. No one gets a special deal. But let me tell you, that didn't happen all the time. I guarantee it didn't.
I just want to recognize Linda Williams. I think she's the glue that holds the utility authority together through all of the changes in our administration and in your administration. I feel confident that she knows that business.
Thank you.
That's all I wanted to say.
Does anybody have anything else to go in the order?
I was just wondering if we could, maybe there's not time for it, maybe forget the committee that Bob was talking about, and the three of us work hand in hand for the improvement authority for economic development.
I think that we already established that we would.
We established ad hoc committee, he's talking about another committee, can we forget that committee, and just us three serve?
I think you guys will discuss that when you meet.
Well, I think a three-way decision, isn't it?
No, I think you guys will meet and then you could give your recommendation to the committee. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, again,
Or, I guess through.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
again, I was not here in January 2012, I came on board. And I'm a little slow sometimes, so that I need to understand that my understanding of an accountant would be, or an auditing firm, would be one that is great on detail. And the first thing I get from them is they send me my copy to Howard Avenue, Howard Street in Carney's Point. I've never lived in Carney's Point. Okay? Their opening sentence, okay, It says, we have audited the financial statements of the Salem County Improvement Authority, a component unit of the count of Salem. Now, if they can't get count and county right, immediately I'm suspect of everything that follows. Just wait for me. So I don't know Bowman from Snowman. Okay? They can't get the first set right, so I'm not real sure they got it right.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion second. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to
Second, then the second, all those in favor?
Yeah,